The twin suns were low on the horizon of Zorath Prime, painting the sky with red and gold fire. In the middle of the alien marketplace, noise and chaos filled the air. Strange creatures shouted prices. Iron cages lined the dusty street. Inside them, broken slaves waited in silence. In one small cage, a young female stood alone. Her body was thin and weak. Her legs were shaped like a horse, but her arms were like a human's. Her brown fur was dirty and matted. Her long black hair hung over her face. She was known only as the filthy Mare. Aliens laughed when they passed her cage. Some threw stones, others spat. "She is not even worth 1 credit," one trader said. "She smells like garbage," said another. "Let her die. No one will buy her." She stood silent, eyes dull, like a broken machine. She had learned not to speak. Speaking only brought pain. The metal collar on her neck hummed with electricity. It shocked her if she moved too fast. For years, she had lived this way. Property, not a person. Then, a shadow moved. A tall figure stood at the edge of the crowd. He wore a black jacket and a gray travel hood. His face was human, pale skin, sharp jaw, eyes like cold steel. The crowd went quiet. Humans were rare here. The man said nothing. He just watched her. His eyes were not full of hate, not full of pity either. Just calm, like deep water. The trader laughed. "Human, do you want to see my real stock? Not this trash. This one is weak. Half animal, half failure." But the human did not look away. He stepped closer. The crowd shifted nervously. "How much?" he asked softly. The trader blinked. "What? How much for her?" Laughter exploded around them. Aliens slapped their knees, shaking with joy. "She is cursed. She will bite you. She will run away. She is only good for the meat grinder." But the human only repeated, "How much?" The trader grinned, showing sharp teeth. "Fine, 10 credits, no returns. If she dies, not my fault." The human reached into his coat. He pulled out a silver card and placed it on the table. The scanner beeped. Transaction complete. The cage door opened with a loud click. The filthy Mare did not move. She stared at him with wide eyes, ready for a trick, ready for pain. "Come," he said simply. She did not. Then he stepped closer. Slowly, he knelt down. He took off his glove and reached out his bare hand. For a moment, the world was silent. No one had ever touched her gently before. She waited for the strike. It never came. His fingers touched her shoulder, warm, human, real. Her legs trembled. Slowly, carefully, she stood. The collar sparked but went silent. The trader had deactivated it. The crowd jeered as she stepped out. "She will kill you in your sleep. She is not a person. She is an animal. You are a fool, human." The man did not answer. He just walked away, and she followed like a ghost. They walked through the market, past burning lights, past laughing aliens. She stayed 2 steps behind him, head low. Every few seconds she glanced back, sure someone would drag her away again. But no one did. They reached a small landing dock. A silver cargo ship waited there, quiet and strong. Its name shone on the side, the Silver Comet. The human opened the hatch and stepped inside. She stood frozen at the door. He looked back at her. "Inside," he said. Her hands shook. She had never walked free before, never entered anything by choice. But she followed. The hatch closed behind them. The noise of the market faded. The inside of the ship was clean, warm, silent. She blinked at the smooth lights and soft floor. The human walked to a panel and pressed a button. Her collar clicked open. It fell to the floor with a heavy sound. She gasped. Her neck felt light. "You are safe now," he said quietly. She stared at him, confused. She wanted to speak, but no words came. He turned and walked toward the cockpit. "Sit," he said, pointing at a small chair. She sat, slowly. Her eyes scanned every corner like a trapped animal. The ship engines hummed. The Silver Comet rose from the dock and lifted into the starry sky. For the first time in her life, the filthy Mare was not in a cage. But she did not feel free, not yet. She looked at the human's back as he piloted the ship. Who was he? Why had he bought her? What did he want? Her fingers curled around the edge of the chair. She decided, if he tried to hurt her, she would fight. But in her heart, a tiny spark of something new was burning. The stars drifted like cold diamonds beyond the ship's windows. The Silver Comet moved quietly through the dark. Inside, silence ruled. She sat on the floor, arms wrapped around her legs. The collar was gone. but the memory of pain still pressed on her skin. She watched the human from the corner of her eyes. He sat at the controls, face calm and still like a stone statue. His jacket was torn at the shoulder, and his hair was messy from the wind of Zorath Prime. He had not spoken to her since the takeoff. She did not trust him. No one was kind without reason. There was always a price. When he finally stood, she flinched. He walked past her toward a small storage room. She pressed her back to the wall, ready to fight or run. But he returned with a soft cloth and a bottle of clean water. He crouched in front of her. "Drink," he said. Her eyes narrowed. She did not move. He opened the bottle, took a small sip himself, then placed it near her hands. "Drink," he repeated, voice low, not angry. Slowly she took it. She raised it to her lips, hands shaking. The water was cool, sweet, like rain. She had never tasted anything so pure. For a moment she forgot the fear. Then he held out the cloth. "Clean your face," he said. She stared at him, confused. "Not slave," he added softly. "Not here." The words stabbed her heart. She did not understand them, not fully, but they felt heavy, real. Her hands moved. Slowly she wiped the dirt from her face. Brown fur appeared under the black dust. Her own face. She had not seen it in years. He nodded once and stood again. "Come," he said. She followed, silent, still watching him carefully. He led her into a small cabin. Inside was a narrow bed, a folded blanket, and a small round light. It was warm here, not cold like the cages. "You sleep," he said. "This room is yours now." Her eyes widened. Hers? A place? No one had ever given her space, not even a corner. She stayed standing. He looked at her, then pointed to the bed. "Sleep. Safe." Then he walked away, leaving the door half open. She stood for a long time. Finally, she touched the bed with her fingers. Soft, real. She lay down slowly. The blanket smelled like sun and metal. Sleep came, fast and deep. When she woke, the ship was quiet. Dim lights glowed along the floor. She stepped out of the cabin and walked silently to the control room. The human was there, sitting at a desk, not at the controls this time. A photo lay on the table. She stopped in the shadows and watched. In the photo, a human woman smiled, holding a small child. The man looked younger, standing beside them, arms around both. He was not smiling now. Beside the photo was a small screen glowing with words in human language. She could not read all, but she understood one thing. A red banner said, "Missing." She tilted her head. Missing. Someone he lost. She looked at his face. There was pain in it, deep and quiet, the kind that lives in the bones. For the first time, she felt something strange for him. Not fear, not hate, something softer. She stepped closer. The floor creaked. He looked up fast. Their eyes met. She froze. He closed the screen. The pain vanished from his face like a shadow running from light. "You're awake," he said simply. She nodded once. "Hungry?" he asked. She did not answer, but her stomach made a small sound. He stood, walked to the food unit, and pressed buttons. A soft hum, then a warm tray appeared. He placed it on the table, 2 small bread rolls, a bowl of soup, and a cup of water. She moved closer slowly, like a wild animal testing a trap. "Eat," he said. She picked up the bread. Warm, soft, not rotten like market scraps. She ate fast, like she thought it would vanish. He did not laugh. He just watched quietly, arms folded. When she was done, she leaned back, eyes half closed. He said, "Name?" She looked at him, confused. "Your name," he repeated. She shook her head. "No name." His jaw tightened a little. He looked at the stars outside, then back at her. "Then choose one," he said. "You are not filthy. Not here." She did not answer. Not yet. The idea of having a name was too big, too heavy. He nodded like he expected silence. Then he said, "I am Captain Joran Vale." Joran, a name like sharp stone, like strong steel. She whispered it in her mind, Joran. He walked back to the controls. The ship hummed as it turned, changing course. She watched him. This human was strange. He had bought her but not chained her. He had fed her but not touched her with harm. He had given her a bed and asked her name. No one had ever done that. Her heart was still full of fear, but something new was growing inside it, small like a seed. Maybe he was not like the others. Maybe She could be more than filthy Mare. The silver comet glided through deep space like a quiet arrow. Stars passed in silence, endless and cold. She sat near the window, her eyes wide. She had never seen space this close. From the cage on Zoreth Prime, the sky was only dust and red heat. Now it was black and full of diamonds. The human, Joran Vale, sat at the controls. His hands moved calmly, pressing glowing buttons. He said nothing. For 2 days they had spoken little. She stayed in her small room, came out to eat, then returned. But something inside her was changing. No one shouted at her. No one hit her. She did not know what to do with this silence. That day, Joran walked to her cabin holding something flat and metal. "Lesson," he said. She tilted her head. "Words," he added. He sat on the floor and placed the tablet between them. On the screen appeared simple human symbols. He pointed. "ABC," he said. She frowned, then copied A, B, C. He gave a small nod, not a smile, just a flicker of light in his eyes. They worked for hours. She repeated the letters, clumsy but quick. He taught her simple words: food, sleep, safe, ship, name. When she struggled, he did not shout. He only said, "Try again." No one had ever been patient with her. When she said her first full sentence, "I am here," he looked at her for a long moment. "Good," he said quietly. It was the first word of praise she had ever heard. Later, as the ship drifted through a blue gas cloud, she followed him to the engine room. He opened panels, checked wires, turned valves. She watched, curious. "Hot," he warned, pointing at a glowing coil. "Hot," she repeated. He gave her a tool. "Hold." She held it steady while he tightened bolts. For the first time in her life, she was not useless. She was helping. A strange warmth filled her chest. She did not know the word for it yet. At night, when he slept in his cabin, she sat alone in the quiet ship. She walked through the halls, touching the smooth walls, the soft lights. She found a small library room full of old human books. Most words she could not read, but the pictures showed wide green lands, blue oceans, children running under yellow suns. She stared at those pictures for hours, wondering if they were real, wondering if she could walk under such skies. Then, one silent morning, she heard a soft beep from the control desk. Joran was repairing something in the engine room. She went closer, ears twitching. A red message flashed on the screen. It was in alien language. She knew enough to understand. Bounty notice. Subject 9. Alive only. High reward. She stared at the small image on the screen. It was her. Her blood turned to ice. They were hunting her. Her hands trembled. She looked toward the engine room. Joran was still busy, unaware. Her first thought was to run, find an escape pod, vanish. If the hunters came, they would kill Joran too. But she did not move. She closed the message quickly. The screen went dark. Then she stepped away as if nothing had happened. When Joran returned, he noticed her silence. "You're quiet," he said. She nodded, keeping her eyes low. He looked at her for a long time, then went back to his work. He did not push her to speak. That was something strange about him. He never forced. But her mind was a storm. Why were they hunting her? What was she? Why had they called her Subject 9? That night, she could not sleep. She stood near the window, watching cold stars. She remembered the cages, the whips, the laughter. She had always thought she was worthless. Now others were hunting her like she was precious. It made no sense. Her hands touched her chest, feeling her heartbeat. It was fast and strong, too strong. She wondered if Joran knew. Maybe he had bought her because of this bounty. Maybe he was only waiting for the right time to sell her. The thought cut her like a blade. And yet, she remembered his voice. Not slave, not here. Those words did not sound like lies. She wanted to trust him, but trust was a dangerous thing. It had killed others in the cages. The next day, he gave her more work. She cleaned panels, carried tools, checked wires. He said few words, but sometimes she caught him watching her from the corner of his eyes. She did not know it, but she was standing straighter now. Her walk had changed. Less crawling, more walking. He noticed. That evening, as the ship drifted through quiet dark, he spoke. "You learn fast," he said. She blinked at him. "Fast? Good?" she asked carefully. "Yes," he said. Good. She turned away quickly so he would not see her face. Something warm was rising in her chest again, stronger this time. Maybe. She was becoming something new. But deep inside, the fear remained. She knew the bounty hunters would come. They would not stop. And when they did, she would have to choose, run, or protect the only being who had ever called her more than filthy. The silver comet cut through the black void like a silver blade. Inside, soft lights glowed. The hum of the engine was calm and steady. She was learning to breathe without fear now. Each day she spoke more words. Each day Joran gave her more trust. But peace is fragile, and space is never silent for long. It started with a sound. A small, sharp beep from the control panel. She was wiping the window glass when she heard it. Joran looked up fast. His face turned cold. "What is it?" she asked softly. He did not answer. His fingers moved quick across the screen. Then he cursed under his breath. "Ships," he said. "4 of them. Fast." Her heart jumped. "Pirates?" He shook his head. "Hunters." Her blood froze. Red lights flashed through the ship. Joran grabbed the controls, voice firm. "Hold on." The ship tilted hard. She fell to her knees, catching a chair leg. Outside, dark shapes shot from the black. Silver lines of light ripped through the void. Lasers. The silver comet rolled sideways, engines screaming. Fire streaked across the glass. Her ears rang. Her heart hammered. Joran shouted, "Shields at 60! Power to rear thrusters!" She crawled to the co-pilot chair and strapped in with shaking hands. "What do they want?" she cried. Joran's jaw tightened. "You." The hunters' ships were small and sharp, like metal birds. Black and red symbols marked their wings. One ship swung ahead and fired a harpoon beam. The cable stabbed into the comet's side with a loud clang. Joran slammed buttons. "Brace!" He spun the ship in a sudden roll. The cable snapped and flew into the dark. Then another beam hit. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Smoke curled from the wall. "Engine hit," she shouted. "I know," he barked, but his voice was calm, steady, like iron. A deep voice came over the radio, harsh, cold. "Human captain, hand over subject 9. Alive. You may live." Subject 9, her. She stared at Joran. His face stayed like stone. He pressed the radio. "No." The hunters opened fire. The comet shook like a dying heart. Lights flashed, alarms screamed. Panels burst open. Wires danced like snakes. Joran's hand flew across controls. "Hold shield steady. Divert power from lights." She scrambled to the panel, pressing buttons as he showed her in training. Sparks burned her arm. She kept going. Then a loud boom. Something hit the hull. The ship lurched sideways. "They boarded us," Joran said. Her blood went cold. He stood and pulled a metal pipe from the wall. "Stay behind me." But she rose too. Her legs shook, but her eyes were hard. "No," she said. "I fight." He looked at her for one long second, then nodded. The hall was full of smoke. Red lights flashed. The sound of boots echoed closer. Figures appeared from the shadows. Tall aliens in black armor, masks glowing red. They carried shock spears and net guns. The leader raised his weapon. "Subject 9, he said, "come." She stepped back, trembling. Joran moved in front of her. "She's not yours," he said. "Then you die." The hunters charged. Joran swung the pipe like lightning. It cracked against a mask. Glass shattered. An alien fell. Another swung a spear. She ducked, heart wild. Her hooves struck the floor like thunder. She kicked hard. The alien crashed into the wall, armor bending. For the first time, she saw her own strength. It was not small. It was not weak. It was wild and sharp like fire. More hunters poured in. They fired nets. One weir apped around her arms. Electricity burned her skin. She screamed. Joran tore the net apart with his hands, dragging her back to her feet. "Move!" he shouted. They fought together, he with iron, she with fury. The hallway became chaos, smoke, fire, sparks, blood. Then the leader stepped forward. His mask glowed brighter. "Stop!" he roared. Everyone froze. His eyes burned through the mask. "She is the key," he said. "The last carrier of the Empire's seed. Bring her. Alive." She froze. The words hit like thunder. Carrier, seed, Empire. What did they mean? She had never been anyone, never been important. Now they called her Key. Joran did not wait to find out. He slammed a red emergency button. Sirens wailed. Steel doors crashed down from the ceiling, blocking the hunters. "Run!" he shouted. They sprinted down the smoking hall through fire and flashing lights. Behind them, the hunters screamed, trapped behind the falling doors. Joran shoved her into the cockpit. "Strap in." She obeyed, hands shaking. He slammed into the pilot chair, fingers flying. The engines roared like wild beasts. The silver comet shot forward, tearing free from the hunters. Fire streaked past the windows. Then black silence swallowed them. They were safe, for now. Smoke curled from broken panels. Lights flickered. Her chest rose and fell like a hammer. She turned to Joran. His face was pale, blood on his arm. Still, he smiled, just a small edge of it. "Good fight," he said. She stared at her hands, burned, bloody, but strong. They had hunted her like prey, but she had fought and survived. Still, her heart whispered the hunter's words. She is the key. She did not know what that meant. But deep inside, something had awakened. The silver comet drifted through the endless black. The hum of the engines was soft, almost soothing after the chaos. She sat on the floor of the cockpit, legs crossed, hands trembling. Her chest still burned from running, fighting, surviving. Joran sat across from her, cleaning a small wound on his arm. He looked at her quietly. Not judging, not angry, just calm. Her mind was a storm. What had the hunters meant? The key. Last carrier of the Empire's seed. She had no idea what it meant, and yet a strange feeling rose in her chest. Fear mixed with something, power. Finally she spoke, voice low and shaking. I am not normal, she whispered. Joran looked up, attentive. What do you mean? He asked softly. She hesitated. Every instinct screamed to stay silent. Secrets were weapons. If they were revealed, people died. But she trusted him, just a little. I was made, she said. Her words were broken, halting. By humans, long ago, or aliens. I do not know. They call me Subject 9, the last one. Carrier of something dangerous. Joran's eyes narrowed, not in anger, not in fear, but in thought. He reached out his hand. Dangerous? She looked at him. Could she tell him everything? Could she risk it? They put something inside me, a seed, old DNA, lost empire, she said, shivering. They want me alive. They will not stop. Joran stood slowly. He walked to the window, hands on the glass. Outside, stars passed silently. Then he turned to her. You are not a tool, he said, voice firm. You are not a weapon. You are not a slave. She blinked. Words like that were rare, precious, dangerous. They could break or heal. Why are you kind? She asked quietly. He smiled faintly, almost sad. Because someone was kind to me once, and I never forgot. The room was silent. Only the hum of engines and her shaky breathing filled it. Days passed. She worked beside him in the ship, fixing panels, checking engines, carrying tools, learning, growing. She learned words, simple sentences, then more complex ideas. She began to understand more than survival. Joran did not push her. He guided, helped, watched. Slowly, she began to trust. One evening, as the ship drifted near a Sualqua, green-blue planet, she finally spoke more words than she had ever said before. I fight. I protect. Joran nodded. Yes, you protect. That is who you are. Her chest swelled. Pride, strength, something she had never known, something more than survival. Then the screens beeped. A warning flashed. Alert! Proximity sensors detect unknown ships. She froze. Her hooves scraped the floor. Her heart raced. Joran's face hardened. He typed quickly. They found us again, he said. Hunters. They are closing in fast. Her blood ran cold. She had survived before, barely, but this time she felt different. Something inside her stirred. Power, strength, knowledge she did not fully understand. They will not take me, she whispered. Joran looked at her. His eyes softened. Then we will not let them. Hours later, she sat alone in the observation room, looking at stars. She felt the seed inside her pulse, like a faint heartbeat. She did not know what it would do. She only knew it was alive, and hunters would not stop until they had it. She placed her hands on her chest, feeling the strange rhythm inside. It was frightening, and yet it felt like a part of her, like a hidden strength waiting to grow. Joran entered quietly. He did not speak. He just sat beside her. After a long silence, she spoke. I I do not want to hurt you." "You will not," he said. "I trust you. We are partners. In this ship. In this life." Something flickered in her chest. Warmth. Safety. Hope. For the first time, she imagined a life not in cages, not under whips, not being hunted. She imagined flying through space, not just running. She imagined standing beside someone who saw her as more. But the warning on the screen pulsed again. Danger was near. She knew the hunters would not give up. They wanted the seed. They wanted her. And now she had a choice: hide and survive, or fight fully and protect the one human who had risked everything for her. She clenched her fists. "I fight," she said softly. "I fight for him, for us." Joran looked at her, eyes hard. "Then we fight together." And in that moment, for the first time, she felt powerful, not just because of what was inside her, but because she had chosen to stand, to protect, to be more than a filthy mare. The hunters were coming. The galaxy was dangerous, but she was ready. Something ancient, lost, and powerful slept inside her, and she would not let it fall into the wrong hands. The silver comet trembled as it drifted closer to the planet's atmosphere. Red storms swirled below, lightning ripping through the clouds. She stood near the cockpit window, hooves pressed against the floor, eyes sharp. The seed inside her pulsed, stronger than ever. It was warning her. Danger was near. Joran sat at the controls, steady, calm, yet tense. His jaw was tight. "They are waiting for us," he said quietly. "Hunters will not stop until they have the seed." She nodded, heart racing. "We fight," she whispered. "No," Joran said softly, turning to her. "We survive. That is the choice." Her eyes narrowed. "If I run, they will catch us. They will hurt you." He sighed, his gaze heavy. "Then we fight together." As the ship descended, alarms blared. The clouds split, revealing dark ships, sleek and black, surrounding the comet. They were not just hunters. They were a small fleet, fast, armed to kill. The first shots hit. Explosions rocked the ship. Sparks flew. The floor rattled beneath her hooves. She ducked as debris fell around her. Her muscles tensed, her chest burned. One alien boarder dropped from above, net gun ready. She sidestepped, twisting in midair. Her hooves kicked the alien back into a control panel. Sparks flew. The alien cried out. Another tried to grab her. She twisted, slammed a metal pipe across his chest. He fell. Joran shouted from the cockpit, "Shields at 40, divert all power to weapons." She ran down the hall, feeling every pulse of the seed inside. Her. It was alive, hot, hungry, powerful. The boarders came again, more numerous this time. She ducked, jumped, kicked, and struck with every ounce of strength she had. Her hooves struck like hammers. Her hands moved like lightning. The aliens had underestimated her. She realized something frightening. This strength, this power. It was not just hers. It had always been inside her, waiting, hidden. A sudden explosion knocked her against the wall. Smoke filled the corridor. Joran appeared, pulling her up. "We can't hold them all," he shouted. She shook her head. "I stay. I fight." "You could escape," he yelled. "They will kill you." "No!" Her voice was firm, loud, sharp. "Not without you." Joran stopped. He stared at her, eyes wide. Then, a small smile flickered. "Then we fight together." They moved as one. Joran handled the ship and weapons. She cleared the halls. The boarders were relentless. Every shot fired at her, every strike thrown. She blocked, dodged, and returned with power no one had expected. Her body moved with speed and precision. Each step, each kick, each strike, perfect. She was a weapon, but also something more. A strange realization hit her. She was not just a fighter, she was protector. She had chosen this path. Just when they were surrounded, hope seemed lost. The ship rocked violently. Then, a fleet of human ships appeared from the clouds. Her chest froze. Crew members she had never met, old friends of Joran, swooped in, blasting the alien fleet. The hunters screamed in panic. Their formation broke. Ships collided, exploding into fireballs. Joran reached for her. "Now, to the cockpit!" They ran together, dodging sparks and flames. The comet roared as it accelerated upward, leaving the burning planet behind. Once clear of the atmosphere, silence fell. Smoke curled from damaged panels. Sparks burned in corners. She leaned against the famos. he while breathing hard. Her muscles shook. Joran looked at her, face bloodied, but smiling faintly. "You were amazing," he said. "I've never seen anyone fight like that." She stared at him. I didn't think I could, but I couldn't leave you. Not now, not ever." He stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "And you won't have to. You are not alone anymore. Never." A warm, strange feeling bloomed inside her chest. Pride, relief, hope. She was not just the hunted. She was not just the filthy mare. She was something stronger, someone stronger. In the quiet aftermath, she sat beside Joran, watching the stars pass by. The seed pulsed softly now, no longer frantic. She felt its power. But now, it was hers. Controlled. She could use it, protect it, choose what it became. The galaxy was dangerous. Hunters would not stop. But she had chosen her path, her choice, and she would fight. Beside her, the only human who had ever truly seen her smiled faintly. For the first time, she felt home. The twin suns of Viridia Prime rose slowly, painting the skies in gold and pink. Birds chirped. Trees swayed gently in the warm breeze. For the first time in her life, she felt peace. She stood at the edge of a small garden, hooves brushing the soft grass. Sunlight warmed her brown fur, clean and soft, not matted and dirty as it had once been. Behind her, Joran Vale walked, his hand reached for hers. The world around them was quiet, safe. Human and alien alike watched them pass, whispers trailing behind. "She is the mare. She is married? They say she survived the hunters." She ignored them. She did not need their judgment anymore. She looked up at Joran, eyes bright. "Do you think we are safe now?" she asked. He smiled, kneeling to her level. "Safer than ever. Together." She blinked, not understanding everything about humans, but understanding this. She belonged. Inside their small home, sunlight poured through the windows. The walls were bare, simple. No cages, no chains, only warmth. She walked carefully across the floor, touching the furniture. She remembered cages, dust, fear. The memory made her shiver. Joran followed, placing a small tray of food on the table. "Eat," he said. "Breakfast is ready." She smiled faintly. The word felt strange on her tongue. Breakfast. Home. Family. Days passed. They tended the garden together. She learned to plant seeds, water them, watch life grow. Some mornings, children from the village peeked through the fence, curious, shy, afraid. She waved, careful. The first humans she had ever spoken to with friendliness. They did not mock her. They did not call her filthy mare. Her chest felt light. She had never imagined this before. A life, not in chains, not running, not fighting. A life where she could exist and be loved. One evening, she sat with Joran under the twin suns. He looked at her, serious for the first time in weeks. "I have something to tell you," he said softly. She tilted her head. His expression was calm, but his eyes held weight. I am proud of you," he said. "Not for fighting, not for surviving, for choosing to be more than they wanted you to be." Her chest tightened. A warmth spread through her. I am happy," she whispered. He reached for her hand, holding it firmly. "Then we begin our next journey," he said. The weeks turned into months. Hunters were gone. The galaxy still had dangers, but they were far away. She learned more human words. She read books with Joran. She practiced walking gracefully, not as a slave, but as herself. One morning, she felt a strange warmth in her belly. Her eyes widened. She turned to Joran. Something inside me," she said softly, unsure. He smiled gently. "Then our family begins. Together." The idea felt strange, magical, impossible, yet real. For the first time, she imagined a future not just for herself, but for someone she would protect, someone who would grow in the warmth of love. On quiet nights, they would sit together, looking at the stars. She sometimes touched the spot where the seed had pulsed inside her during battles. Now it was calm, peaceful, a reminder of how far she had come. No more chains, no more hunters, no more fear. Only life, only love, only freedom. The village came to accept her slowly. Whispers still followed her through the streets, but they did not matter. She was no longer the filthy mare. She was someone who had fought, survived, and chosen her own path. She stood tall, shoulders back, hooves firm on the ground. She smiled at the people around her. A small girl waved. She waved back, laughter spilling from her lips. She had never laughed like this before. Joran took her hand one last time as they walked through the garden. "Home," he said. "Yes," she whispered. "Home." The suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in gold and crimson. They walked together, side by side, ready for everything the future held. And in her heart, she knew. They had mocked her. They had called her worthless. But she had chosen strength. She had chosen love. And now, finally, she was free. Her life was hers. Her family was hers. Her destiny was hers. The stars above whispered of new beginnings, and she smiled, stepping into them. Not as a slave, not as a filthy mare, but as herself.